This podcast is proudly supported by the Bartronica Bar, the home of retro.
You can find Bartronica at 335 Flinders Lane in the heart of Melbourne CBD. It's half museum, half bar. Check them out on Facebook or Instagram and become part of the Bartronica community.
It's us again on the Arcade Perfect podcast. It's me, Daz, and my fellow co-host, Mr. Taggsta. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing well, Daz. Not too bad at all, thank you. After that first podcast, getting in the flow of it a little bit.
Yeah, thanks for everyone that's downloaded it. It was well received, and we're really happy with that, so thanks heaps.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Yeah. But with us, we already got a guest on. How's that? We have Mr. Tim Arnold from the Retro Domination podcast and Geekdom United podcast. How you going, dude?
Good. I get around, don't I?
You do.
Cheers for the invite, lads.
No worries, man. I knew because we picked R-Type for this episode, and I thought of you because I knew you were a big fan of it, Mr. Schmuck.
Yeah.
So thought, who else to ask?
Oh, you know, I'm honoured. What can I say? No, it's been good to sort of plug away and replay some of the R-Type stuff. So it's good. But we'll get onto that soon.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you have the original Master System version then, Tim?
Yes, I do. I did use an emulator, but I do actually have it on the original cartridge. So.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
you
so
just couldn't be bothered to blow in the cartridge and get it working.
Everything's currently in storage. We're just really quick side story. We've got a really small house. I've got like a games room, but it's kind of used more for storage at the moment. And everything's kind of packed away. And you know, if I just want to play some retro stuff, I'll just whack on the emulator. With much to the dismay of probably some of the listeners out there, but hey. Yeah, I know. So we're actually doing a house extension soon. So once that pops up, then hey, invite me back on and I'll actually use proper hardware. Just to please the fans. So.
Episode 2, take 2.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. So we're doing R-Type, Sean. Would you like to give us a bit of some info about the game?
R-Type, yeah. So R-Type was released in 1987, of all years. So it's good shoot 'em up. Came 2 years after Gradius. I think when I look back over shoot 'em ups in the 80s, they're probably the two games that stand out to me. Gradius and R-Type. Very fond memories of them, and they just looked amazing. So, it's been ported to a lot of systems, so having a little look at it, was over 19 versions of this game came out across on many systems. And I had a fair few of them myself. I don't know about you guys. Did you have many different copies of it?
Yeah, pirated copies. Not gonna lie.
I think I just PC Engine. Master System, and I think at one point I may have rented the Game Boy version. So
yeah, right. I think I definitely had the C64 version, had the Amiga version, and then probably just the more recent versions of it that came out on the Xbox.
Oh yeah, got that one.
Yeah, so a bit of a gap in my history of having it, but definitely had it early on in the day. What about you, Daz?
I've got R-Type on the PC Engine, which unfortunately is only half the game, because R-Type 1 and 2 on the PC Engine is the one game, but they rectified that with the TurboGrafx version. I think it's got like more memory on it, so it's got the full game on that. But yeah, I've only got R-Type 1 on the PC Engine. I do own the Master System version as well.
Yep.
And then But then I'll be going into R-Type Delta, etc., which I have on the PS2, and I do own the Xbox 360 arcade version as well, which is quite good.
Yeah. Yeah, it is good, isn't it? Yeah, it's got both versions in there, hasn't it? And
is that when they released they did like the virtual cabs as well?
Yes, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that was really good actually.
Yeah, it's called R-Type Dimensions, I think it's called.
That's right. Yeah, I did buy that back in the day. Jeez, back in the day, Xbox 360.
Yeah, it was probably like 8 years ago though now, something like that.
Yeah,
Flies.
Yeah, it was they did like a 2.5D version of it, didn't they? Where it was.
That's right.
You could play it. You could play it horizontally like the arcade, and with a push of the button, it would put a bit of an angle on it.
Sort of like that isometric sort of style.
Yeah, so they totally redrew it in 3D to be able to do that, which is pretty cool. So hopefully enough people bought it.
Hey, did you know that it was published by Nintendo in the US in the arcades?
I did.
Yeah.
I read up on it. But that was about it. But yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's really weird. I didn't know that until a couple of years ago. A friend, Greg Powell, mentioned it. So, I thought, wow.
It's in a Donkey Kong style cab, isn't it?
Correct, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but then it didn't come out on the NES.
Yeah, how weird is that?
Which was surprising.
It came out on the better 8-bit system, didn't it?
That's right, on the Sega.
A wink, nudge.
Boom!
Are you a Sega fanboy then, Tim?
Of course, yeah, naturally. So the Master System was the first console that I got back in the day. Oh, I had some other weird thing, but that's another long story. But the first one that I adored, and that was the first sort of mainstream one, was the Master System. So yeah, I'm a bit of a Master System fan. So yeah, no, it's good stuff. Not to say I don't like Nintendo, but I'm a little bit partial. So I guess, do you want to go into the different versions we've looked at, fellas?
Yeah, I'd like to go first, seeing that I've probably reviewed the most, so I won't be long.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start off with I've got to get this one out of the way because it drove me insane. Was the ZX Spectrum version? Now, a lot of people say it's an accomplishment on that system, and I agree. With the 48K, it actually accomplished a lot, and it looks good when you're looking at screenshots. But when you play it, it's a mess to me. The bleeps and boops and the sound on it's just dreadful, and the color clash. It's like, or everything's the same color, and it's absolute crap, and I just don't understand how people just love it so much. It just it's shit. It's shit.
I guess it's if they've had that, and that was their only port that they had their hands on. I guess that's why they're probably fond of it. But if you kind of spoil it for choice, then you could probably regard it as shit. But I guess like Specky fans that were diehard, and that's all they had was that. They're probably just like, you know what? I'm happy to have an R-Type.
Yeah.
Whatever format is coming in. So, yeah.
It's hard. Look, I mean, like I said in the last podcast with Ghouls and Ghosts, if you didn't know better, you'd be happy with it. But there's still people now that go back and play this ZX Spectrum version. I just don't get it. But for me, it's nowhere near an arcade perfect podcast. I was going to say arcade perfect version. No chance. Thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
Thumbs down. Terrible. Who would like to go next? I'm angry now.
Need a good version to talk about.
Yeah.
Can I talk about a subpar version?
Go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
I checked out the Nintendo Game Boy version. I'll get onto the other one a little bit later on, which is vastly superior. But it is a bit of it's pretty impressive that they did get it on that tiny little sort of, greeny, sort of yellowy black and white screen on the Game Boy. It's always a bit of a hard thing to sort of pull off with shmups when you got small bullets going and flying, and you get the monochrome screen on those. It was always really hard to sort of see, sometimes pixels flying past and things like that. So they kind of pull off R-Type kind of not too badly. Everything's kind of a little bit bigger than, I guess, the arcade port, because it's obviously it's a smaller screen, so they've actually enlarged the sprite. So there's less enemies than what you would have in, say, like the PC Engine version or the arcade version, I guess. So there's less enemies. Some of it's a little bit hard to see, like your bullets and things like that. And as I said, like being like such a little screen, if you say put it up on an emulator, sorry, cough cough, I'm a pirate. It'd probably be a little bit better to see. But if you was like, as I said, I rented it back in the day because I was a big R-Type fan, and I didn't have one of those fancy lights you sort of strapped onto your Game Boy. I just used like a reading lamp over the top. And that was okay, but it's like, it's very hard to pick smaller sort of details. There's a bit of sprite flicker in it. I guess one of the big downfalls, because the soundtrack to R-Type is actually really, really impressive. There's some really iconic themes and really catchy tunes. It basically repeats two different tunes over and over again. So level 1, it'll play like sort of the main sort of theme, and then level 2 will be different music, then level 3 will be like the level 1 music sort of recycled, and like, oh, okay.
It's a bit repetitive, huh?
Yeah. One thing that it does have, because I also reviewed the Master System version, it does actually have, when you hold down the fire button and charge up your main laser, it actually has that that little, what would you call it? What would you call it?
The beam, like the beam, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like
The
a bar or
charge.
something.
Oh,
the
yeah.
charge bar. With Master System 1 doesn't have that. You kind of just got to guess and just hold it down for ages. So I guess that was a bonus.
An extra feature.
Yeah, I know. Watch out. But it's pretty impressive for, as I said, like for R-Type to be on such a small handheld system. But as I said, the limited soundtrack, obviously with a smaller sort of medium, they're going to have to make cuts. So I'm pretty sure there's 2 levels missing from the overall game, because there's initially 8 levels. I think there's only 6 in this one. I'm pretty sure it's level 4 and 5 which have been omitted from this particular port. Level 3, which is the iconic level where you're sort of flying around that huge spaceship and you're sort of blowing things off, is considerably easier than some of the other ports that I've played. There's sort of less stuff to blow up, and I kind of got through it a lot more easily than I did, say, on the Master System version. But then you sort of get to level 4 and it's like, wait a minute, this doesn't look like level 4. What? This doesn't look like level 5. But yeah, so obviously limiting it down for obviously the capacity of the Game Boy, it kind of had to be done, I guess. They did release R-Type DX later on, which actually had R-Type 1 and 2. Whether or not they actually re-put in those or re-added those extra levels, I don't think they did. But look, all in all, I've kind of got to give it credit for a little black and white handheld thing. The Game Boy was a bit of a powerhouse back in the day, even though you did have the Game Gear out there. But I won't get too fanboyish. It's still impressive that they've got it on there. The graphics look good. The sound, the music is it's okay. It's not fantastic. I've never been a big fan of the sound or the music or the sound chip of the Game Boy or the NES for that matter. But all in all, it's impressive that they've squeezed it into a small handheld system. As is obviously with emissions aside, it's actually pretty impressive. So controls well, and look, I can't really bag it too much.
Would 10-year-old Tim love it back in the day?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think I probably did back in the day, but I think I was more so interested in playing, like, say, the Ninja Turtles games and things like that on Game Boy or Mario.
Okay.
I remember I did hire it out. I mean, look, R-Type it is a freaking hard game as well. So
translating to a small screen,
Yeah, it kind of adds to that frustration element. As I said, I hired it out. I didn't buy the game, whereas I bought, like, say, the Ninja Turtles ones, so the Fall of the Foot Clan and things like that. So, I don't think it was a huge fan being a 10-year-old Timmy.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Cool. Good, Tim. Thanks.
That's all right.
All right, so probably we'll go next. I think I always seem to pick Japanese versions of things. I don't know why, but yeah, I decided to look at the Super CD version of the game. So the next Super CD that came out in 1991. So it was 4 years after the arcade, and it was a few years also after the U-Card versions came out. So Super CD version, I actually love it. So the music, I don't know if you guys have heard the music on it at all, but the music's awesome on it.
Yeah, it's great.
With the CD, it just makes it so cool. There's a few tracks on there. Love Stage 1 and Stage 2 music tracks. So for the actual game itself, it does look pretty much like the arcade. There's, it's captured the arcade version really well. The only thing you do get is the screen, because the resolution is less of what the arcade is. When you go up and down, the screen actually scrolls up and down a little bit to bring in the detail or the top of the bottom of the graphics. So, and you find that probably with quite a few other versions as well as the PC Engine version. But yeah, I really like playing this version. Stage 2, there's a lot going on. It gets busy, especially at the that second boss, and you do get a lot of flicker on the screen. And I think that's probably the biggest difference between this version and the arcade is the amount of flicker that you get, because you just can't quite handle all of the sprites on the screen.
Can I ask a question? I was going to ask. Sorry, Sean. The second level, is that the big battleship or is it the cave?
That's the stage where you've got the cave and then you've got the heart at the end with almost like the snake coming out of it.
Comes out of like different orifices.
Okay, all right. No,
That's
cool.
right. Yeah. And I don't know about you guys, but it seems like a lot of the versions of R-Type that are out there struggle with flicker.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that seems to be a common thing with this. This game must have pushed itself pretty well back in 1987, and the other machines, trying to emulate it just or copy the arcade, struggled to cope with the power that the arcade machine version had back then.
Yeah, I got to agree with that. It surprises me like how many different layers there is. Like, I guess prior to that, there was like a lot of like your Space Invaders, which was just star fields, which is just black, and then just
one background,
white pixels and stuff. But this has got some really lavish backgrounds as well, parallax scrolling and things like that. So I think that's that plus your also your enemy sprites as on top of that really pushes it. I guess a home port to its limits. So
yeah, and there's some parallax scrolling in there and things like that as well, which so it's trying to cope with a lot of different things. Some of the other cool things that I like about the Super CD version is there's intros and cutscenes at various break points through the stages. Oh, cool. So that was a bit of a story, Well, the version I played was Japanese, so I have no idea what they were talking about. But it looked cool. Really cool. And the music had got different samples in there as well, which I thought was pretty impressive. I'm not sure quite why there's like a police siren going off at certain parts in some of the stages. I actually put it on a little memory stick and played it in the car for it, and my son's actually wants to listen to it every time he comes in the car now. So it's quite a cool soundtrack. So yeah, I really like the Super CD version. Is it my favourite version? It's probably up there, I must admit. It's a bit of it's between maybe the graphics not quite as good as the arcade, but some of the sound and the music is just really impressive in it. It adds a little bit more to it. So it's a toss-up between, better music and slightly less graphics or going for the arcade. So, yeah, I think it's a good contender for one of the best versions.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Well, I suppose the only other thing we could talk about is the Super CD version came out after the U-Card version. So it's probably pretty well known, but in Japan, the game came out on 2 cards, which we mentioned a little bit earlier. And because just basically back then they couldn't compress it all onto 1 card, so they split it into 2. And then a year later, when it came out in the US, they'd managed to compress it down and fit it on 1 card. So maybe it was just a big money spinner, or actually it just was back then. They couldn't get it all onto one card at the time. I don't know. But I remember my mate having it, and we'd only got the first card, so it was kind of like, oh man, I wish we got the other stages to play.
Yeah, I'm impressed it got that far. So hard.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's pretty well known. We seem to be picking hard games on this podcast. Well known as a pretty tough shooter. Yeah. So yeah, that's probably my summary of the Super CD version. I'm really big fan of it. Have you guys played that version at all?
I've played more so the U-Card version of it, as opposed to Super CD.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. Back to you, Daz.
Next. Okay. I was actually surprised that there's actually an MSX version of it, and I was surprised that it's not a direct port from the Spectrum, because that's what a lot of games are on the MSX one. But okay, I popped it in. I've got on my flash cart, and I gave it a go. Very playable. Scrolling's a bit iffy. It's like it chugs along. But it's still fine. Out of all the versions I played, it was the easiest one. I actually got to the 2nd level with no problems. It was fun. The only thing I would say it lets it down, like, really badly, is the sound. It's the music's fine, explosions are fine, but the noise of your cannon or your bullets when you shoot is ear-piercing, like to the point it's really, really annoying. I even had my wife in the next room saying, "Can you turn it down? What the hell is that?" Like it was just like a beeping noise. It's a shame because it drowns out all the other noise, like all the other music and everything else. And R-Type, you have to just keep shooting. You can't not do anything. You have to keep shooting, and it ruins the game. It's to the point to me it breaks it. But in a way, look, if you can see past, if you can hear past it, you could say, it's a not bad game. And for back in the day, I think you'd be happy with it. And I'll probably I'd say that. Yeah, you'd be able to live with it. It's not a bad. It's actually fun, but yeah, if the stupid cannons didn't make that dumb noise, that beeping, I'd enjoy it a lot more. But it was the easiest one, and the reason why, that's why I actually enjoyed it. But that's all I have to say about that one, to be honest.
That's sorry, I got cut off there. What version was that?
That was MSX.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was quite good.
Cool beans.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go into my Master System version of the game. That was actually done by Compile, which were doing a few different shmups on the Master System at the time. I think they were doing the Aleste series, or
yes, that's them.
What do they call? What do they call on the Master System? Is it Aleste?
Oh shit.
Power Strike 1 and 2. Yeah, Compile did that, but they also did the port for R-Type for the Master System.
Oh, I didn't know that.
What a great port it is.
Yeah.
I was going to say, they've got a pretty good heritage nowadays of being great shooters, doing great shooters, haven't they?
One thing I've got to... I hired this back in the day. I actually, as I said earlier, I own a copy now. And it's kind of getting a little bit rare on the Master System. It's one of the more expensive titles that I picked up. I think it was around the sort of $40. I don't know. That's expensive to me.
It
Yeah,
is.
I think
that is expensive.
Yeah, for a Master System game. But yeah, I remember I rented it back in the day, and it was one of those ones that I'd rent a lot, more than once. I just really love the music. As I said, I prefer the sound chip of the Master System, even though some games it can be really warbly sort of sound chip. But with R-Type, it would just seem to be, it seemed to go really well with the music that they had with R-Type. One of the cool things you can do on the Master System, there is a sound test I think you can get into via the continue screen. I think if you spin the D-pad either clockwise or anti-clockwise, there's one that you do clockwise to actually get extra credits.
Oh.
Sneakersons. And if you spin the D-pad the other way, I think you get, or if you press down on both buttons, you get into a sound test. And I remember, like, sorry, Sean?
Yeah, extra credits would be a bit of a lifesaver on that game.
Oh, yeah. I remember there was also a cheat I remember I got from Mean Machines Mag that which is an invulnerability cheat, which is obviously very, very handy back in the day because it does get really hectic sort of pretty much from post level 4 onwards. But yeah, the sound test, I remember I used to just like play through that. I always used to love sound tests as a kid. It just felt like you were hacking into the system with a lot of these little secret sort of things. And there's some really, really cool tunes. You can sort of go through all the different tunes that were on the Master System, and just, I don't know, bop your head away and just go, yeah, track 6, woo!
Did you ever copy any of them onto tape, Tim, and make a little mixtape?
No, I didn't really have the. I did it with other stuff, but not with R-Type. I think Streets of Rage I did. I just adore the soundtrack of that, but yeah, it retains all the backgrounds and stuff. It has a little bit of parallax scrolling. It does it does have like the detailed backgrounds. Whereas I said, like a lot of other sort of space shooters, but just it didn't really have much, just bar a space field. So for the Master System, push out those plus enemy sprites, as I said earlier, which is super impressive, plus all the colour. The only downfall I would say is the Master System is renowned for sprite flicker. If you've played like Double Dragon as well, that one's an absolute peak for sprite flicker. But being that it's a shmup, makes it a little bit tricky. But it looks fantastic, and you just go, you know what? I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. It's probably just me being a fanboy. One of the coolest thing is it's in level 4. If you the one with the little green dot things that you shoot through, and there's like these little snaky things that draw like green dots, whatever. It's not on the Game Boy version. Anyway, it's level 4. Basically, if you fly up to, there's a hole in the ceiling at that point, at a certain point of the level, and you can fly up and then fly back, you'll actually get into a secret level or a bonus level, which is called a super stage, I think it was known as in Japan. But is actually the only port that actually has this bonus stage out of all the was it 19 different ports you guys said earlier?
Yeah,
something like that. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually got a secret bonus level. So, and it's got its own boss and things like that. So that's a bit of a sought after sort of thing from R-Type buffs, I guess.
Yeah. How does that level hold up compared to the design of the other stages? Is it pretty much in the same kind of vein as the other levels, or
same kind of vein? You've got like these weird green frog things and these weird like tentacle things that come down from the roof, and you sort of it's kind of on par with say level 2 with like trying to squeeze through certain sections of the map. Yeah. But then sort of as you progress later on, it's not as tight. It's just more just a straight shooting. So. But no, it's as I said, like for a bonus level, and why they would put it on the Master System as opposed to, like, say, the PC Engine, whether they were going just for a straight arcade port, I'm not too sure. It's just a nice little bonus, I guess. So,
dude, they couldn't even fit the whole game on the PC Engine.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Compile must have been really showing off and saying, look, Nintendo, and there's, we've got it on the Master System. We'll even stick an extra level as well, just to upset all the Nintendo fans.
And look, there's some absolutely... I mean, the game is hard as nails, and as I said, like the invincibility code, which you can get, I can't remember how to do it. That's what saw me through for completing the game when I was a kid, because it just, I don't know, it gets dumb hard, and there's I think it's level 7. There's the boss in that is just ridiculous. So it was level 7 or level 7 or 8, but yeah, just timing where you shoot your thing through, it's just nuts. Too much, and like I don't know, like these days I'm kind of more adept at like playing like cave shmups where you got these tiny hitbox.
Yeah.
On R-Type, like the whole ship is pretty much its hitbox.
That's true.
It doesn't leave much in the way of dodging.
Not room for.
Not much room for error.
For error.
So, yeah.
I must admit, I'm gonna have to put my shame head on. I've still not finished this game. I've never finished.
I wouldn't hang your head in shame. That's for sure.
Yeah, I've done it. I've finished it cheekily with cheat codes, but yeah. I don't
think I know what happens after level 4.
There you go. But yeah, so the Master System port is... I'm just super impressed by it. I've always have been. Mind you, I have played like the PC Engine ports as well, and obviously that's visually looks fantastic. The sound's a little bit better. Obviously, just even with the Hue card one without the Super CD is obviously better than the Master System. I don't know whether they use the FM chip on the Mark III version, whether it changes the music. I'm not too sure if it's an FM chip compatible cart.
I think it is.
Okay, well, then the sound would be freaking awesome then on the Mark III. So I didn't go too far into my research for the Mark III side of things. I had my hands full with the Master System side. So, but yeah, all in all, it's I was well chuffed by it. So yeah, very good port.
Yeah, it looks really good. One thing I was really surprised by was that it never came out on the Mega Drive. And when you look at the Mega Drive catalogue of shooters, there were so many awesome shooters on the Mega Drive, but it never came out on it, did it?
I think Mega Drive, they were just really excited for Thunder Force. That was kind of their sort of horizontal shmup. So yeah, it's surprising.
Force 3.
But they did. Was it R-Type 3 on the SNES? Was it R-Type 3?
Yeah, that came Super R-Type and R-Type.
Super R-Type.
Okay.
Yeah. Was it First Lightning or Lightning Strike or something? R-Type 3, something like that. I never got that. I had the Super R-Type pretty much the second it came out in Japan, and that
was launch title, wasn't it?
It definitely wasn't far off. It was one of the early games that I got on import, and my mate always took the mickey out of the slowdown on it. It really annoyed the shit out of me.
Okay.
But it was it was like almost like a remix of R-Type 2, really. But it was good. Yeah, it's still pretty impressive visually, sure.
One thing that's always irritated me about R-Type, though, it depends on ports, is when you die, they'll take you back, like, I don't know, 50 meters and restart you, as opposed to just getting a flashing ship coming out and just respawn, keep going.
And you're back to nothing, aren't you, with no weapons, nothing.
You have no power-ups.
Yeah. So the also thing that got me was the force pod that you attach to your ship. Right, that never gets damaged. So if the ship was made out of the force pod,
I know, right?
Never get blown up, yeah? It's like, man, if only we'd have known.
Oh, cool. All right.
That's
Sean?
good, Tim.
Nice
All right,
one.
okay, so the next one, I'm just going to run through the Sharp X68000 version. So, again, this was the Japanese computer that this game came out in 1989 for the Sharp, which was 2 years after the arcade. So that's a pretty good turnaround to get a game in your home that looks very much like the arcade machine. I'd be well happy with that. Back when I was a young lad in 1989 playing this game, I'd think all my Christmases had come at once. So, but yeah, I don't know. Have you guys seen this version or had a play on it? I only played it for the first time this year.
Nah, never.
No, I've never tried it.
It's interesting. I scored 23,000 points on it, and I think I did a couple of videos on YouTube on the YouTube site to show you guys show people it running and whatever. There's 2 difficulty levels: normal or hard, or as I like to call them, brutal or impossible.
Yeah.
It's like, it is nuts. I must admit that I paused the game and there was, at one stage, there was 9 bullets on the screen at once.
Shit.
It's like so difficult to dodge things. It was really tough. I played the arcade and did reasonably well on it, put this version on, and I was just like, kept going back on stage 1, It took me about 10 minutes to see the first boss on stage 1. I was like, oh my god. So I don't know, the difficulty seems just a little bit harder than the arcade and other versions out there. And I would say the collision detection's a bit on the tight side as well for it. You even brush anywhere near something and it's...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really it actually frustrated me a little bit. And this version, when you looked at Ghouls and Ghosts, there was a few extras in there. The sound was awesome and it added a little bit more to it. But with this version, it's a little bit, there wasn't quite so much with this one. It had a sound test, but that was pretty much it as far as options go. Change the difficulty or sound test on it, and the sound was great, but nothing to really shout home about. It didn't really add anything to the arcade, to the arcade machine.
Okay.
Sprite wise, I think the sprites and stuff were a little bit smaller and a different resolution as well. So pretty much like the Amiga version, actually.
Okay.
Same with the Amiga. The sprites were a little bit smaller than the arcade to get it all on the screen. But I think back in 1989, I was probably, I don't know, was the C64 version out then, Daz?
Yes, it was.
1989.
Yep.
I was playing the C64 version. If I could have played that or the short version, I love the playability. But I think that I was always somebody who looked at the graphics on the back of the box and blown away by the arcade or something close to the arcade. So I was always hunting for the next best thing. For the Japanese to be playing that kind of version back in the home back then, it's pretty awesome, really.
Yeah, it would be.
Pretty cool. So yeah, it's a great version. It's pretty true to the arcade. The sound's good. It's nothing different really about it, like the PC Engine version had, like the Super CD version had. But solid version. Just a bit too tough, I think.
Okay.
It makes it a little bit more frustrating than the original. A little bit of a thumbs down almost on it.
Well, there you go.
Oh.
Yeah. And I don't know how much it costs to buy it. A lot of money, I would imagine. Maybe we can look it up. I'll look it up see if there's one for sale. But you wouldn't get any change out of $200, I don't think so.
Yeah. You think with MAME these days, it's not even worth spending that much cash on versions like that.
It's got a beautiful box.
Shelf filler, Ed. Shelf filler, Ed.
That's right. Yeah, it's a
Tim, shelf filler, mate.
Yeah, true. True.
Want to drop on the shelf, with the cover out.
Yeah. Cool. Alrighty.
All right.
Tim, that was it, with those two, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's cool. My job done.
Okay, I'll go next with the C64 version. Now, this is the version that I grew up with. Now that I've played all the others and compared, I mean, it's good. It feels a bit vanilla. Does that make sense? Like, it just doesn't have that wow factor about it, I think. But it plays well. It just like the bosses don't feel right though, and the graphics are good. Music is fantastic. Chris Hughes-Beck does it. It's good. I wouldn't complain. It's not the best version I played, but back in the day I loved it. And like I said, the sound, even like the cannon when it shoots, it just sounds like a big thunder, like a big thump. It just sounds like these guys are going to cop it, type thing. So it's a really good version. But yeah, it just seems like it's a bit of it's lacking something. I just don't know what it is.
You said the bosses weren't were lacking.
Yeah, it's like for example, like animations are missing. Like for example, the first boss, right? You know how you got the tail moving.
Yes, yeah.
Like, but back in the day, like I only played this version, so I didn't know what was going on. Now the tail would be moving, and I would have no idea where I'm going to have to shoot the guy to kill him. The guy, because it doesn't have that little green alien coming out of his stomach.
Oh, okay.
So you don't know where to shoot.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have played the arcade, would you?
No,
or
not back
maybe,
then.
or maybe not. I don't
No,
know.
back then, no. Yeah. I mean, I was young, and it was a game that I never really saw in the arcades. But it was stuff like that really throws you off. And I found that the C64 version, the levels are mixed up because the second level is the big green ship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then the third level is the red cavern where those crabs come out and stuff. You know what I mean?
It's switched them around.
They switched them around.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of weird, but look, it's good. It's good. I'd recommend it. I do prefer. There's a bit of history. I guess I should mention it because there is a bit of history behind the C64 version. Rainbow Arts. Well, firstly, Electric Dreams, were starting to develop R-Type for the C64, and Rainbow Arts in their shifty ways were thinking we could do a better game than this, just like they did with Giant Sisters. So they made a game called Carticus, which was just far superior. Oh, it was just so much better than R-Type. They ended up releasing it, and after a few weeks, they had to take it down because Irene were very upset about it. But they were that impressed, they dumped the old programmers of R-Type and said to Rainbow Arts, "You're making the new R-Type for the C64." So it's pretty much all the same developers of Carticus, but they made R-Type. And I think they purposely made it a bit lacking. I don't think they wanted it to beat Carticus. You know what I mean? I think it's a bit, But it's a shame they thought that way. They probably thought, well, why the hell are we going to make a better game than what we've already done? So
Did you hear about did a little reading up, Daz, on the C64 and spotted something today on it that I didn't know about. Mm-hmm. Did you see the little note in the credits about the game, how long it took to make?
No.
So in the credits of the game on the C64 version, it actually says that we made this game in 6 weeks.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive that they did it in 6 weeks, but maybe that's why it's lacking a little bit,
Yeah. But, obviously, I think it was a lot to do with as well, them, with Carticus and all, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Here's this little German game developer, and they've just, it's amazing what they squeezed out of the C64. It was amazing. But, but that's another story. But, that's it. What's that?
Carticus came out on the Amiga as well, didn't it? Or was it called something else?
I don't know if it was.
Because I remember playing that as well, but I can't remember if I played it on the C64 or if it was on the Amiga that I got a legit copy of it.
Legit copy? I was going to say, if you did, you'd be a millionaire.
A copy.
Yeah, it's really hard to find original, that's for sure.
Oh, I can imagine.
Let me see, Amiga. Yeah. Let me see. Is there an Amiga version? And there is an Amiga version.
Yeah, so I think I was introduced to it perhaps on the Amiga, not on the C64.
It actually looks a lot different. It actually looks like R-Type. There you go.
Yeah, it looks like a Psygnosis game.
Yeah, it does.
To look at the graphic style and stuff like that on it.
Yeah, it's very R-Type. Anyway, was there another one that you had, Sean?
Yeah, just to go back to that C64, I've got
Okay.
a really dumb story to share with you about the
Okay.
C64 version. All right, I was only a young boy. I knew no better, you know. But I picked up CMVG when I had my little Commodore 64C, and picked up the issue of CMVG, and it got R-Type on the cover, and it came with a tape that had got a demo of R-Type on it. Now, this demo tape, it didn't tell you how much of the game was on the demo, so, you know, I've still got a really vivid memory of playing it at my mum and dad's house, putting in the tape, waiting for it to load, playing this version, and you got right to the first boss at the end of the level with a big alien. And like you mentioned now, I didn't realise this, but like you mentioned, the green alien doesn't come out of the body. Yeah, on the 64 version, which has made me realise now, oh, okay, well, maybe, you know, I'm not so dumb after all. but I got to that boss, the first boss, and I don't think I'd ever played the arcade, but I knew what the arcade looked like and so on, and I got to that boss, and it was iconic, and I shot shit out of that boss. And I was shooting it and shooting it and shooting it. I was shooting it all over the place on this demo tape. And it didn't die. No matter how much I shot it, it didn't die. So I thought, oh, it's bugged out, you know. So I remember turning it off, rebooting it all up, putting in the tape, loading it up again, doing it again. Got to the same boss again, did exactly the same. So the demo just wouldn't let you kill.
Oh, wow.
The end of level boss. Man, I must have spent 30 odd minutes at that boss shooting the shit out of it, thinking this son of a bitch is gonna die somehow. And yeah, it didn't.
It didn't.
I was like, oh man. It didn't. It was just so you know, unsatisfying to not be able to kill the frigging thing at the end, you know. But that was a little memory that I churned up when we picked this game. I thought, oh man, I remember playing the C64 version and loving what it looked like. I just thought it was like the arcade, you know, back then. But just the fact that on the demo I couldn't kill the boss. Just kill me.
Well, how's this? I'll make you feel better. It's very hard for me to kill the boss in the normal version. How's that?
Yeah, well, I see. Did you just shoot it anywhere, or do you still have to shoot it in the gut?
Oh, I used to shoot in the head and stuff. Think, why isn't this thing dying? And all of a sudden it would come forward and squash me.
Yeah.
Yeah, asshole.
It actually comes forward, does it?
Yeah.
It does,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Yeah, MSX version does too.
Yeah, I'm not sure if all the versions do that, you know, because I found that the X68000, it came out really quick at me. I was like, holy shit.
Everything I've played, it's been kind of stationary and just, you know...
Just a tail.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. And as soon as it starts moving, you're gone. That's it. No chance. Alright, cool.
Alright. Okay. Alright, so we'll talk a little bit about the PlayStation version. So the PS1 version came out in 1998. That was a fair bit of time after the original there. Really, what we're looking at, 11 years after the original. And they called it R-Types. So it's a pretty good package, really. You got both R-Type 1 and 2 on disc. Yeah, which, you know, back then, 1998, that was a pretty good thing to have both versions. I don't know how many people played the second one. Really? Have you guys got any memories of playing the second one in the arcade or anything?
Not really, no.
Only one I played besides the original R-Type was R-Type Leo, I think it is.
Which is like the third arcade, isn't it?
I think so. It's great.
That one doesn't actually even have the that force ball either as a power.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's more just a straight shooter. Yeah.
Oh, it'd feel a little bit weird, wouldn't it, without it?
Yeah, I played through it via MAME because that's kind of the only port that you can actually get because it was only released in the arcade as far as I'm aware. But it's really good fun, worth checking out.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've played it a few times on main, but for some reason I couldn't get the sound working on it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But yeah, it does look good. It does look really good. But I've actually got some memories of playing R-Type 2 and not R-Type 1 because a local place, news agent, sort of game shop that I used to go into, they had a little cubby hole behind it that had about 7 or 8 arcade machines in it. And I walked in there and I just saw that intro to R-Type 2 where it's going down the tunnels. And that kind of blew me away back then when it came out. So, yeah, I played the second one quite a bit. I don't think I perhaps ever played the original in the arcade. But yeah, R-Types has got obviously the 2 versions, and it also includes the demo of R-Type Delta as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which came out on the PlayStation as well. So extra things that you get on the disc, and you get a bit of a CGI type intro on there with some dialogue and whatever in there, a bit of a storyline around it. It's a little bit ropey, to be honest. Maybe back then when you first had it back in '98, it was perhaps okay, pretty cool to have a bit of CGI. But nowadays it's pretty low resolution and a bit ropey. Yeah, so yeah, it includes a few extras in there. One thing it did do, you didn't have the scrolling up and down, so the power bar was actually transparent, so it was in there, so you could have the full screen in the resolution. And there was Oz Museum as well, so it had things like 3D models of the spaceships that you could spin around and look at. It give a bit of a timeline as well of the R-Type games and things like that. So you give a little bit of it. There's like a bit of a history museum in there.
Cool.
But the games themselves were pretty spot on, really. Apart from the transparent bar and the resolution change. I think 1998. You'd hope that you get a good version by then.
Yeah, you would.
And they're pretty much spot on. They're very good versions. Pretty much arcade perfect, I would say, as far as they go. Have any of you guys had that version, the PS1 version?
I think I had a pirated version.
Yeah, I think much the same. Sorry.
Yeah. yeah. So yeah, it's a toss up between that one and for me, that one and the Super CD version. That and the arcade, they're all very much, they've all got little pros and cons. The arcade, though, just looks a little bit nicer. I don't know, there's something about the original.
Yeah.
Just the colour palette and things just looks a little bit nicer.
Nice.
Alright, so is that it, Daz? Is that as far as the kind of reviews go?
No, I've got one more.
We got something else in the back, hiding there in the back.
Yep, I reckon. For me, this is the crown jewel that I played. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and you're gonna laugh.
It's not the one it's not the machine that got the coveted Golden Turd award last episode, is it?
Yes, it's the one that got the Golden Turd. This episode, Does It Expectrum gets the Golden Turd, but for me, the ones I play, I think this one reigned supreme. Was the remake on the Amstrad CPC 6128 version. Yeah, the 128K version.
Did you say you like something on Amstrad?
Yeah, dude, this is unbelievable. This is amazing for what this machine can do. Now, I did watch some of the original version that came out back in the day on the Amstrad, and it's very poor. It's better than the Spectrum one, but it looks like the Spectrum one, but it's crap. But some developers, some homebrew guys just redid R-Type on the 128 machine, and it looks and sounds amazing. Yeah, scrolling as you know the Amstrad does can be a bit chuggy, but it's amazing. It's amazing what this computer has done. I mean, as soon as my game room's done, Tim, when you come over, I'm chucking it on. It's going to blow your mind. It is.
You're going to open up all your boxes in your extension and just throw out that Master System car out the window.
That's it.
You're going to say, stop this. Poof.
Look, it's no Master System version. It's no Master System version. I will say that.
Oh, then stop talking it up, mate.
Would Alan Sugar like it?
I think he'd love it. I think he'd love it. No, but in all seriousness, it's colourful. It's got everything the arcade version has. The only bit of a downfall is that it's kind of small. The screen, like I think the Amstrad does 3 different resolutions, and it's using the smallest one with the most colours. So anyway, it's not that bad. But either way, it's the version I play the most now. I actually love booting up the Amstrad and playing that. It's great, and to think that some homebrew guys just did it themselves and did a better job than back in the day, it says something.
Yeah. When did that come out then, Daz?
The homebrew one?
Yeah.
I can tell you, it came out in 2014.
Okay, so 3 years. Yeah, 3 years ago. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
amazing that the people are doing this still, and show what the machine really can do now.
Yeah.
They've got advanced skills in the programming and understand the hardware better and everything.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But yeah, that gets my my crown.
So do you think the Spectrum will do for the Spectrum? This Spectrum next? Think that's something that maybe would you see a huge improvement? You think in the Specky version? It's going to be more powerful and...
Yeah, but you know what? That's not really a Spectrum in the end. You know what I mean? It's like them releasing a C64 now for faster processor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So you're not bought into that one too much.
No. It's too expensive. And what for? I've got a Specky.
Original, yeah.
Yeah, with a flash cart. So, and it's a 128K as well. I'm not going to get stuck in it. It's like it was 350 Australian dollars, and that's not even with postage. So,
wow.
Yeah, I'm not buying into it. I'm sorry, especially how things have been going. I mean, with Kickstarters and Indiegogos, nothing ends up coming out. So, I'm not going to gamble that much money on something like that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But yeah,
same.
But yes, I think the Amstrad version was the best version I've played. Out of what I tested today or this week.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Cool.
I might have to give that check that out. Just give it a go. I think
you should, dude.
As far as the playability goes, and that it feels really cool. When you're playing it, it feels like the arcade.
It's fine.
It's got the same kind of playability. Yeah.
It's fine. It's absolutely fine. Just the scrolling's a bit shitty because the Amstrad doesn't do hardware sprites and scrolling. But right. I'm willing to forgive that because it does look amazing. And as Tim knows, I'm not a big fan of the Amstrad, especially Mark. Mark hates it, but I'll give credit where credit's due, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, cool.
Mm.
All right. Well, that's a bit of a shock to the system there, Daz. I don't know how I'm going to carry on.
Well, that's pretty much it, isn't it?
That's good. Yeah. That's really good. All right. Okay. So there's a few other things I've got here. Last time in the first podcast, we talked a bit about the old 80s and 90s magazines and some of the awards that Ghouls and Ghosts got at the time. Yeah. So your Sinclair.
Oh no.
Gave it a mega game, Daz.
I don't get it, mate. I don't get it.
Yeah, gave it a mega game. Crash. Gave it a Crash Smash. And it also got the best coin-op conversion at the Golden Joystick Awards as well.
On the Spectrum.
That's a UK Awards ceremony. I think that was overall.
Okay.
So looking at conversions, it got the best coin-op conversion. I'm not sure which year that was now, but they started I had a look. There was a little YouTube video of this. It's pretty low resolution because back then, when it got the best coin-op awards, I don't think cameras were too hot at videoing things. Yeah. But there is a video clip of it on YouTube, and they actually, I don't know if it's RM who did it, but somebody did a full CGI intro to the Golden Joystick Awards based around R-Type and the ship going through London and doing all this kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool to see. It's a shame you can't get a higher res version of it to look at. 'Cause it looked pretty cool going through all the landmarks of London and whatever. So yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I think overall the conversions of it were pretty impressive, really, for this game.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all they're all good in their own way as well. You know what I mean? Besides the Spectrum version.
Yeah.
It's horrible. I mean, you look at screenshots; it looks beautiful, but it plays like ass. It's shocking.
Tough to make you swear.
Yeah, and the bleeps, the sound is like, oh.
That's a bit of a killer.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So, that's we're going to go to the Facebook wall. Have a look at some of the comments.
Yeah. Cool, man. All right, we'll quickly jot down there, and I've got to go to it. Would you like to start off?
I'll dig it out.
Yeah.
Let's have a little look. Just got it up on here now. So, okay. So, yes. Thanks to everybody who's put some comments on the wall. I've had quite a lot of stories and interest about R-Type. Seems like a lot of people really enjoyed the game. Jean-Claude Van Damien, I think he commented in the first podcast. He's probably pretty well known to the RD boys, maybe. C64 music. Played it heaps with the volume right up. Always used to cheat, so I could experience the whole game each time. The Atari ST version was a bit shaky, but I actually found the music in that to be quite atmospheric. Hard as nails, though. Had to watch my brother play it all the way through. Couldn't get past stage 4 on the SD. It seems like he's feeling my pain there a little bit. It's pretty similar.
Where are you reading
all
from?
Right.
Where are you reading from?
I'm just reading it from 16th of July when we first posted about decided the next game.
16th, okay.
Yes, I think, it's the one that's got the flyer, the arcade flyer on there.
Okay, yeah, cool. All right, sweet.
Yep.
All right, I'll go next.
Do you want me to do the next one and then you're...
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, okay, so Paul Vinton said, love the Amiga version, led me to check out Pygia, which I loved even more. What's Pygia?
I think that's an Amiga game.
Is that like a take on R-Type? A little bit like the game by Rainbow Arts, you think? Or Pygia?
Oh, yeah, I've played this. Yeah, you're a bee. It's okay. It's okay. It's like Gradius. But you're a bug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, then the next one's a guy called Tim Arnold. I don't know who he is.
Oh, can I read that one? I've actually put up a screenshot of the level 2 boss. Instead of playing the brilliant SMS port, bit of sprite flickering, but damn solid. That's what I said.
It's as if you wrote it, Tim.
I know. I even sound like the guy, I think. Daz, you on
I'll go
page?
next. Yeah, Cameron Davis. Hello, Cameron. That is a long one. I was hoping this would be your next game. I have so many memories of many versions of R-Type. The first is discovering the arcade machine in late '87 and marveling at the incredible graphics, especially the explosions. Gee, lucky you didn't play the MSX version. Nothing looked like R-Type and had been seen before. The eventual C64 conversion wasn't terrible, really, but looked rather limited compared to the bigger and more bombastic shmups like Carticus and Armalite. He's right. The C64 version is more of an interesting for the legal story behind it than the game itself. R-Type was one of the first games I got for the Master System, and I remember being blown away by how close it seemed to the arcade. One of the first experiences I had of seeing why dedicated games consoles were the future. Also remember looking at the hyperbolic coverage of the PC Engine version got in the Games Machine magazine back in the day, making that version and the tiny console it played on a high desirable set. I still think it's amazing. But the best home version in my eyes was outstanding Amiga port. It just felt right with flicker-free sprites. There you go, Tim. Flicker-free. Whizzing around the screen and bombastic stereo sound effects shaking the speakers. Also, shout out to the Game Boy. Game Boy Color ports that was so far better than they had any rights to being. Great fun and highly recommend giving it a go. Nice one, Cameron. Actually, I should play the Amiga one again. I should.
Yeah, I'm same here, actually. I must have had the Amiga one back in the day. Great, always did good versions of things. All right, okay, we've got Rob Jeffries. He says, after the awesome Ghouls and Ghosts episode, R-Type is a great choice. Got many happy memories of this title from owning the excellent Spectrum version and then playing the Amiga and Master and then playing it's a long time ago. Give the guy a break.
Yeah, sorry, Rob.
And then playing the Amiga and Master System version at friends' houses. After that, I regularly played the R version before moving on to R-Type Complete CD on the PC Engine, R-Types on the PS1, and then recently revisiting it on R-Type Dimensions on the Xbox One. Can't wait. He loves his R-Type. He's had a lot of different versions over time.
Cool. Tim?
All right.
Hi, Paul McCaskey. He says, great choice for your next game. I spent a fair amount of time playing the Spectrum version, much to Darren's dismay, which was way better than I thought it would be, Darren. It had a lot of colour for a Spectrum game. Playing the PC Engine version, though, was amazing. It led me to buying one and getting into the import scene way back when. Other than that, the PS1 version on R-Types is great, although I still play the PC Engine or arcade version more.
Controversial.
Yes.
That's it.
Go for it, Sean.
All right, do you want me to go, Daz?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, is it me?
It's you, Daz.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my turn. Mark Bell. As a bit of an arcade purist, I probably always had unrealistic expectations on the arcade ports to home systems, and I was almost let down by them. R-Type, though, was a bit of an exception, and it has some decent ports. The 64 version wasn't bad for what it was. Pretty dodgy sprite collision, though, from memory. Oh, he's right. And it had some great music. The loading times were a killer, but the Master System version was absolutely gobsmacking. This one game made owning an SMS worth the money, in my opinion, as it was just about spot on to the arcade. It even had the extra secret level. The arcade version is still the original and the best, though, and much later we got some good arcade perfect versions around the PlayStation era. R-Type is still my favourite shooter and the MSS version is in my conversion pick simply because I don't know how the programmers managed to get it up and running on that hardware.
Yeah.
That's a long one.
Hey.
Yeah, cool. Box and outrun owner, so I respect his choice.
Okay.
All right, so we've got a guy here called Greg Pell. Not sure who he is.
Who's Greg?
Never heard of him.
No.
Some dodgy garage arcade dealer.
Yeah.
Recent pickups.
Yeah.
All right, okay. So Greg's put definitely a shout out to the Game Boy version. Had quite a bit of fun with that back in the day. Also enjoyed the SNES version as well. This is probably talking about Super R-Type. Put it this way, didn't know any better until I discovered the actual arcade version in MAME a lot later in life. I'm sure you guys will cover it, but it's not common knowledge that Nintendo distributed the IRM. Yeah, so we talk a little bit about it in the US with Nintendo. They use the exact same cabinet that was used in Nintendo versus Unisystem games and single monitor play choice systems. Planning to tick this one off my Grail list later this year. So, good on you, Greg.
Actually, that's what it's going to change.
We're coming around to play it.
Yeah, I got a feeling it's going to change that Miss Pac-Man to R-Type.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's got. How many Pac-Mans did he pick up?
Did he get more than one? Did he?
Yeah, he got a standard like upright Pac-Man, and then there was like two cabaret Miss Pac-Mans in there as well.
Oh,
just some people are just greedy.
I know, Greg, I'm coming down.
They put my name down for one, but I don't think he's biting.
No. Cool. Well, that's it from the wall. Wasn't there something you had to share too before we head off?
Me?
Yes.
That's?
Yeah, wasn't there a letter? The high score guy?
It was. Yes. We've got a letter. So, through social media, I picked up not so long ago that a guy in the UK had recently got the record on R-Type, so the Twin Galaxies World Record. So what I did, I got hold of a guy called Rich Evans and pinged him a few questions, and he was very happy to answer them and give us a bit of feedback on his history with R-Type and what made him kind of go for the record and things like that. So yeah, I thought we'd share that with everybody. So you check Rich out on Twitter. I'll give you some details about that in a minute. So I said to Rich, when was the first time you played R-Type? The first time I played R-Type was on the Sega Master System back in '88 when he was 11. Says I never played it in the arcade machine until I got my own around 3 years ago. I remember loving playing it as a kid, but crikey, it was difficult and he sucked at it. The guy who sucked at it is now the world record holder. There's hope for us all, isn't there, guys?
That's it.
So I said to Rich, why do you want to go for the world record on R-Type? So he says actually his first Twin Galaxies record was for a game called Pulsar on the Neo Geo MVS. So he's a bit of a fan of the Neo.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great
I don't think I've ever played Pulsar. What is Pulsar?
It's actually ex-developers of R-Type.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. It's setting him up a treat for it, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's kind of got a theme going on.
He has got a thing going on there, yeah. Okay, cool. It says, I beat a guy called Michael who lives in Denmark, although my own record on that game has since been beaten by a guy called Peter Han in the US. Now, I don't know if you're into world records and things like that, but I recognise Peter Han's name. I think he's got more than one world record on Twin Galaxies. He's a bit of a ringer for records, I think. It says, after the next shoot 'em up record I gained was for Blazing Star, also on the Neo Geo.
My
Is
favourite.
that one that you guys have played?
Yeah,
Blazing Star.
That's my favourite shmup.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Get some tips off him, Daz. It says, I also have a Guinness World Record for Blazing Star and a few others on Twin Galaxies. So why did I want a record for R-Type? It says, well, it's one game that people have heard of, but it also reminded me of my childhood on the Master System. So I had to wait quite a while to get the arcade game, and when one became available, I had to have it so I could train for the record. It says, the score I beat was set back in 1991. That's
wow.
4 years after the game came out in the arcade, so that's a massive gap there. You know, there's a lot of people chewing it, trying to get that record. So, respect to Rich for doing it after such a long time. So that's really impressive. And it says it took him months of training, perhaps 3 hours a night to work up to breaking the record.
Far out.
And that is crazy, isn't it? That's dedication. So I says to Rich, what's your favourite level? He says, my favourite level is level 4. So I love the music on this level and how difficult it can be until you learn how best to complete it and get the most points. That's the theme throughout the game, though, knowing where you need to be so you don't die. So with a lot of the with all the enemy ships and bullets and things like that, it is very much repetitive. So it's not random. So it is really a memory game R-Type, definitely on the arcade anyway. Everything comes out at the same place at the same time, shooting at the same time as well. So, learning where to be at the right time is really important.
Yeah,
in the game, for sure.
That's kind of like reminds me of Ikaruga. Like everyone comes out at the same place every time you play it, and it's just memory. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, do you like Ikaruga, Tim?
Oh, yeah, I love it. That's one of my favourites of all time.
Oh, really? What did you get it on? Because it came out on the Dreamcast, didn't it? Was it Dreamcast first?
Yes, and then it came out on GameCube as well.
Yeah.
The GameCube runs a little bit better than the Dreamcast, a little bit quicker.
Right, okay.
Sorry to go off on a tangent here, but
That's all right.
I initially discovered on the when they did the HD remake on the Xbox 360, but it didn't actually have the we could play through subsections of the levels in slow motion and things like that. That's why I ended up going for the GameCube version.
Oh, really?
So actually,
it's missing. It's missing stuff. The Xbox
it's just all it is. It's just basically a one-player game or a two-player game.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think there's also there's another mode which you can get where you've got a limited amount of bullets, and so the more you absorb, the more you can actually shoot and things like that. So I can't remember what that mode's called, but it didn't actually have the practice mode, which is unfortunate. So love that game, love it.
Yeah, I had a legal version of it on the Dreamcast. Yeah, and then I picked it up on Xbox Live as well, but it's a spiritual successor to Silvergun, isn't it? Red and Silvergun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and neither games I'm that good at, to be honest.
Yeah, they're just so much fun to play. Like, I love Radiant Silvergun with an absolute passion, but Ikaruga just seems a trumpet for me. Radiant Silvergun's kind of like a wild boss rush game, kind of like Alien Soldier. It's just that Treasure are really renowned for doing like that sort of that boss rush type of game. But Radiant Silvergun's is unique with its different weapons and things like that. But Ikaruga for me for a more puzzly shooter.
The whole black and white thing, you know. That's,
the polarity shifts and Sorry, that was a tangent.
We've tangent off a little bit, but that's cool. We're all right. Okay, so Rich's last question, Tim, was what's his favourite version? So I think my favourite version is the arcade, but as a Master System version was a great conversion. It reminds me of my childhood. I suppose I have to say it's a close second. So he's got a lot of heart and love for his old childhood Master System version there, for sure, which a lot of people seem to have, to be honest.
It's a damn fine port, but I guess more so I think it was everyone would have had, or most of the people would have had a Master System as opposed to a PC Engine or a TurboGrafx.
Yeah, definitely so, in the UK, and I imagine it's the same in Australia as well. Yeah. I think Master System was more prevalent here, from what I grew up with and what I saw personally. Yeah. Is that compared to the NES?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Australia. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd say the C64 was the biggest 8-bit here, though. If you're going gaming wise, but the Master System was a very, very close second.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the same for the UK, to be honest. The C64 was everywhere, but the odd person would have had a Master System, and the only time I never knew anybody who had a NES. The only time you saw a NES was in some of the shops where they'd have Play Choice 10, you know, where you could play it for a minute, and then it'd reset itself, which always pissed me off, to be honest.
We didn't have them here, did we, Tim? Play Choice.
You not have them here?
No.
We had a chain store in the UK called Boots, and they were like a cosmetics section company mainly, but they had some toys and a few other things. And I remember playing, you know, while my mum was looking at bloody sunglasses and, makeup and stuff like that, I'd be down in the little toy section playing on the little Nintendo setup they got there where you could choose, you know, the different games on the machine. But you always only had like 2 minutes before it reset itself, and it just infuriated me. That's why I never wanted to buy one. But yeah, I think back then you didn't realise, you know, it was just obviously just for you to test out different games. But it used to annoy the hell out of me. But so thanks, thanks to Rich for giving us some feedback on that. It's a great achievement, and the dedication to do it. You know, it takes a certain person, doesn't it, to 3 hours a night to really want to get that world record. So it's so impressive. So And I think his young son as well, has also got a world record as well, which is brilliant. Which is brilliant to get his young lad at it as well. He's got a world record on one of the newer games that's out there. But yeah, it's cool. It's really cool.
Oh, good. I think it's time to finish up.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to do a few shout-outs, guys, shall we, before we and then wrap up.
Yeah, cool. Timmy, would you like to go first? Shout-outs.
Shout-outs?
Yeah, mate. Good old shout-out.
Like send out to my homies. No, I don't know. Who do I shout out?
Thanks, guys. It's usually our circle of friends all the time.
I know. Thanks, guys, for inviting me on the show. I'll just give some cheeky plugs. Check out obviously our Retro Domination podcast, the original, you might say. But also I co-host another podcast with Sparky Marky, and we do Geekdom United, which is like like pop culture. We talk about movies, we do movie reviews, we do board game reviews, we talk about all sorts of cool stuff, modern gaming. I think last episode we talked about, Injustice and Tekken and all sorts of stuff, but good episode.
Laserdiscs, yeah.
Laserdiscs, yep. We get into Laserdisc. Me and Corley was on there. We talked about Laserdisc and just anything that's cool. So we just talk crap. So check out Geekdom United. But that's us. Yeah. Yay!
Sure, Tim. All right. Okay. So I've got a few here. I'd like to thank Paul McCaskey. Okay. So Paul gave us a shout out and plugged this podcast on his latest episode. He does a podcast called Game Music Gaiden. So you can check him out at Game Music Gaiden on Twitter and download his podcast. His podcast is mainly based around music, video game music. His current one that's out there is based on fan music. So we put some requests in and things like that. I put a request in and he played it, and he also gives us a plug for the podcast. So thanks to Paul, and Paul. And go and check him out at Game Music Gaiden on Twitter. And look for his podcast. It's really good and well researched. The other one would be Aussie Arcade Forums as well. So a guy called Triple O. He's given some feedback before in podcast number 1, and they've just set up a new Aussie Arcade Main Gaming League competition. So if you're into video games, you're into the classic games, and you're just getting into it, or you're a bit of a veteran and go for the high scores, go and check out Aussie Arcade Main Gaming League and get involved in that. It's a lot of fun. It's something that I've been doing. So that's a couple from me. HardcoreGaming101.net is a great website for research, so I've definitely used them for this podcast. They've got some interesting facts.
They're an awesome
love their stuff.
Love their stuff. Go and check them out. They enlightened me on R-Type and a few things that I didn't know. Go and check them out. And obviously the 10 Pence Arcade podcast, so 10pencearcade.co.uk. Those guys have given us a couple of plugs on their website, and they're a great podcast to go and listen to if you're from anywhere in the country. In any country, you'll enjoy their podcast. Who've got good banter.
Lovely.
All right, Daz.
Me. Thanks for everyone.
Lots of biscuits.
Yeah, biscuits, custard creams. Oh, Shawnee. Mr. Holly makes me laugh so much. Oh, jeez. Big shout out to the boys, all my mates, everyone that supported us through all these podcasts. That's pretty much it, really. I mean, I could give a few plugs. Like Tim said, there's a Retro Domination podcast. Also, Aaron and Co. with Press Play and Tape podcast. Also, our sponsor. Jeez, how can I forget our sponsor? Bartronica and Co. Miss Bartronica and Pinball Paradise. So, you're in Melbourne. Go play some pinball, man. Go past Pinball Paradise, and then if you're closer in the more of the CBD area, go to Bartronica. There's pinball and arcade there and consoles.
Yep.
And if you're in the Geelong area, go to Miss Bartronica. They're actually having their 1 year anniversary, so go there and hang out and have some fun.
It's cool. Bartronica has set up a really beautiful high score table in the establishment there. So get down there and see if you can take some of them high scores off their beautiful chalkboard that they've set up, and they've also just posted some merchandise as well. So if you like your merchandise, you can pick up some of the latest merchandise.
Well, there you go. Well, that's
all
it.
right.
Okay, well, that's it. We're done.
Thanks very much for joining us, Tim. And
yeah, thanks, dude.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Master System coverage and what you've covered there, and your stories around it all. So that's cool.
Oh,
definitely get you back on again if you don't mind. We'll get you back for some other games that you really like.
I'm actually contractually obligated to return on episode 4.
We'll get you on if ever we do Wonder Boy, the original Wonder Boy.
Oh, mate, I could talk about Wonder Boy all day. Maybe it'll be an extended time podcast.
That's it. No, cheers, happy guys. It was good.
No worries. Okay, thanks everyone for joining us, and I wonder what game we'll pick next, huh?
Yeah, there's been some ideas thrown around on the Facebook page. So if you just before we go, 2 seconds. So if you want to get involved in the podcast, go and check out the Facebook page. It's a good way to share your thoughts, your interests, give feedback. Me and Daz, and maybe even Tim, for this one, have been putting videos up of us playing the different games and different versions. So come and get engaged in that. It's a good way to prepare for the next episode.
And the next game we're playing is R-Type 2! Oh, jeez, imagine.
Oh, jeez.
Cool. All right. Okay, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Cool. See you later.
Till next time. Bye.
Bye.